This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Perhaps the most well-known pismine in the entire gamut of liturgy that we have, Ma'oz Tzor Yeshuasi. And there's a phrase there in the Ma'oz Tzor that struck me for the very first time this evening. We say, Ma'oz Tzor Yeshuasi, my strength, the rock of my salvation. L'cha na'el l'shabeach, to you it is fitting to praise. Tikoin beis tefilasi, affix my house of prayer, rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. V'sham Toda nizabeach, there I will offer a korban Toda. Le'ez tachin matbeach, when you prepare the slaughter of mitzar hamnabeach, of my oppressor that groans, when you destroy my enemy, az egmar b'shir mizmar Chanukah hamazech, then I will complete with song the inauguration of the Mizbeach. Why do we say that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu rebuilds Beis Hamikdash, we'll bring a korban Toda in the context of Chanukah? What does a korban Toda have to do with Chanukah? Why are we mentioning this? We're talking about how we look forward longingly to rebuilding the Beis Hamikdash, and certainly we bring all the korbanos. Why specifically mention in the context of Hadlakas Ner Chanukah the korban Toda? Tonight is Zois Chanukah. What is the significance of Zois Chanukah? We mentioned this morning, Shlomo Zalman says the significance of Zois Chanukah to the point where Maril brings down there are those who didn't do Malacha on Zois Chanukah. Not on the first day and not on the last day. The first day I understand. They Chanukah, they rested on the first day of Chanukah from their enemy. But what's special about the 8th day of Chanukah? Rav Shlomo Zalman says, well, on the 8th day, it took them 7 days to become tahar. From the ashes of the paraduma, they sprinkled on the 3rd and the 7th day. So this was the first day they became tahar, and the menorah was tahar, and now they could ready themselves to light the menorah b'tahara. But the Belzer Rebbe, Rabbi Yisachar Dov of Belz, added a very important nekuda. Those who experienced the miracle of Chanukah, the miraculous events of the menorah and the war, they would probably have to bring a korban. And what korban would they bring? Of course, they would bring a korban Toda, a song of thanksgiving for saving them from danger, from peril. They would have to bring a korban Toda. And as we know, the rule is when somebody brings a korban, it's a Yom Tif. And therefore, the 8th day, when they were finally tahar, as Rav Shlomo Zalman said, it took them 7 days to become tahar. So now on the 8th day, they're finally ready to inaugurate the Mizbeach from its state of Tumah, and they themselves were in a state of Tahara. So now they could, for the first time, be Makar of a korban Toda. So the last day of Chanukah, the 8th day, was a Yom Tif. Why was it a Yom Tif? Because they were Makar of a korban. Which korban? Korban Toda. So it's even brought that some have a custom to say Mizmar L'Soda on the 8th day of Chanukah. So the korban Toda is very connected to Chanukah, and I think this gives us illumination in that which we say, Tikoin beis tefilasi v'sham Toda nizabeach. Why the Toda? The Toda is essential, integral to the Yom Tov of Chanukah. That's the korban of Chanukah, the korban of the Yom Hashmini. This perhaps would also give us new insight into what we refer to as a Chanukah party, where Marameh Rutenberg said, Chanukah party, it's a Sudas Rishus, there's no mitzvah in it. But perhaps we know that the korban Toda required many, many loaves to be brought with it, 40 loaves. And the Netziv explains the reason why it required so much bread is if you leave it over, you have to burn it, you have to destroy it. So it required you to get together with family and friends to fulfill the great principle of B'soich Rabbi Mahalalenu, to thank Hashem in public. There's a special recognition, a special element of gratitude that it's not done in the privacy of your own home, but instead it's performed publicly. B'soich Rabbi Mahalalenu. So perhaps then the Chanukah party commemorates the korban Toda, that its essential ingredient was to gather together with your family and friends to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So may we be zoicha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should rebuild for us Tikoin beis tefilasi, and we'll be zoicha v'sham Toda nizabeach. And until then, the 8th day of Chanukah is dedicated as a Yom Tif for an extra measure of hoidah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Afrei lechem Chanukah.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.